Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. Another live stream. I say another. It's actually the first of the week, right at the end of the week. Today we are, of course, looking ahead to this weekend's game between Manchester United and Everton. We need to try and pick up the pieces and assess really where we are at now till the end of the season, because realistically, in terms of the league table, it's not looking too pretty, probably summed up by the fact that you can actually see the bottom three when you screenshot the table with United in it. It's of course not particularly positive right now. The fan base is a little bit flat, and I understand that, but what we really need to try and do today is come up with an 11 that can win this game. We may not have too many options, to be fair, but this is also a little bit of a, we described it in Discord this morning, as a bit of a therapy session for Manchester United fans. This is a safe place to talk about Ruben Amorim, about United, the squad, the players that are missing, the players that we need. It's a safe place, really. So we are going to focus, of course, on this football match, because that is the immediate agenda, what's coming up this weekend. But also, I am happy to stray away a little bit and talk about some different things regarding Manchester United. And like I said, the aim for today is really for this to be just a safe place to talk about how depressing our football club is. Before we get into any of that, get in a chat and let me know how you guys are doing, because we haven't spoken since last Friday, I believe, the last tactical preview. So yeah, let me know how you're doing. Also, I'm going to try and get back to streaming more regularly. Recently, it's been very disrupted. I haven't been as regular with the streams, not helped by the fact that United haven't been playing as much. But next week, I've got 4 streams lined up. If you want to add more stream ideas, if you've got any ideas, let me know either in the chat or, literally perfect timing, David, in the Discord server as well. Let me just pin it in the chat. David, thank you very much. If you look at the top of the chat right now, there is a Discord server pinned. It's completely free to join. You just need to literally click on the link, maybe make an account if you haven't got one already. Then you can get involved and maybe let me know some streams and also videos that you would like to see in the future. Because like I said, I do feel that right now the fan base is in a place where it's all a little bit flat. I think we all feel a little bit disconnected. We all just think the squad is bad. The good ones are injured. What have we got left? Right, what have we got left? But I don't think we should completely write this season off, okay? League-wise, it's done. Finito. Finished. We're dead. We're dead and buried, okay? The league is done. It's just a case of getting as high as possible. That's not going to be very high, perhaps 10th. But I do still think on the pitch we can try and make improvements. We can still experiment and try different players in different roles, discover a new position. For example, Xerxes last week, rather than being a striker, was an inside forward. I do still feel as though we can see progress till the end of the season. So that's what we need to try and look at today. How United can try and do that. You know, what players we can use this weekend, but also moving further forward. Again, this is really today just a safe, calm environment to talk about Manchester United, where we're not going to get heated, it's not going to get toxic in the chat or anything. We're just going to chill and discuss this football club that realistically we all just love. Before we get into that, we've got David in the chat, as always. He's just a legend with the gifted membership. David, thank you so much, as always. Guys, you know what to do. That chat right now should be full of green love hearts, green stars, and everything to say thank you to David, because he is a legend. Who we got in the chat so far? Steve, of course, with the therapy session candle. Actually, that was me that put that. Ryan, good afternoon. Haj, good afternoon. Dan, good afternoon. Richard, I'm saying afternoon. It's morning. It's literally still morning. Good morning to you all. This club has confused me. Might be afternoon, depending on where you are. The season is far from done. Yeah, I think, like I said, the league table is done. But if we write a season off with 13 Premier League matches to play, the Europa League and the FA Cup, for me, that's just unforgivable. We can't write the season off. The season is not done yet. It might be in terms of this, but actually, again, on the football pitch, I think we can try and see some different things. Nuruddin, good morning to you, my friend. How are you? We have lots of games and 2 cups to go for. Exactly. Greetings from Dublin and welcome to the stream, my friend. I hope you're well. Hope you're well. Andrew Johnson Analysis. Nice to see you, mate. Hope you're good. Hope you're good. Anyway, where do we start with this 11? Does anyone, I need your help here, does anyone have updates on the fitness or the availability of any of our players? Because what we've got on screen right now is the Manchester United 11 from last weekend. And of course, the bench was lacking. We had a lot of academy players, which we didn't seem to really want to put into the action. And we also had Victor Lindelof. If we've got the same lot again, making the starting 11 is probably quite straightforward, fairly easy, if we've got the same lot again. However, there are a couple of players that may be coming back. For example, I believe Yoro, it was purely sickness, so he could be back a week later. Christian Eriksen, I believe, was sickness as well, although perhaps we take more caution with him. Not sure. Collier, could he be back in contention? Maybe. And Ugarte, I'm also not sure about. Kobe Mainu, as we know, is out for a while. Ahmad probably till the end of the season. Same for the likes of Lissandro Martinez. With a lot of the youth players, I'm happy to talk about them, although I haven't actually got them written down now. So if you want to talk about a youth player, remind me of their number as well. I personally think it's unlikely we see the youth players again in this game. Away at Goodison Park is a very, very difficult environment to go play in. And if these players weren't trusted last weekend, I doubt they would be this weekend. Again, maybe from the bench, maybe for 10 minutes or something like that. But I personally don't think we will see any of them starting. The hope, I guess, is that some of the players that were ill can be back. Ugarte, I'm not sure if it was ill or illness. I'm not too sure. But I think Yoro and Collier will probably be back in contention. And you know what? For the sake of today, let's include Ugarte in this as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip the Manchester United 11 right back and rebuild it. And probably come up with something very similar. Is it even worth doing? You know what we'll do is we're not actually going to completely take all the players out of the team. What we're going to do is just go through it positionally. What would you guys go for in terms of the back three? Because last weekend, I don't think the back three did an awful lot wrong. I think there are still obviously moments where they don't know the cues on going and pressing and connecting with the midfield. Mazraoui was trying to do it, but him and Dallo looked really confused. But I don't think the performance issues last weekend defensively were purely on them. My issues were higher up the pitch. I should also say, actually, going back to last weekend, I thought United were okay on the ball. There's been a bit of a meltdown post-game that United were absolutely terrible. Oh my god, the shock. We're horrendous. We lost 1-0 to Tottenham. First of all, it was only 1-0. It was kind of errors at the back, defensive lapses of concentration. But did you see the bench? Did you see the squad we had available? It was never going to be a perfect performance. We were never going to see massive improvements in that game. I genuinely don't think we played too badly at all. First half, it was poor. Defensively, I think it was really bad. Criticism for Amorim, but also perhaps the players, their understanding for that. Second half, though, when we tightened up, we improved it. We were a bit more competitive in the duels and everything. I genuinely think that on the ball, we were pretty good, and I think we should have scored goals in that game. Now, things like XG don't necessarily reflect that, because we get into good positions, but don't actually ever quite get the shot off. So we don't quite get chances. But the opportunities we get, I think, are actually still really good. I do think we're finding ourselves in good positions. We just need perhaps different players in different positions in those areas, but also players to step up. Højlund, I know he's young, but he costs a lot of money. Score us a goal, mate. Garnacho, you're young. We need some goals from you, though, buddy. Players need to step up a little bit this weekend, I do feel. We will struggle to create chances against Everton. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly an expert on Everton. I have watched a couple of their games under David Moyes, and I mean, they're the form side in the Premier League right now. I believe if you started the table, once David Moyes came in, Everton would be joint top. They are also statistically creating the most chances and finishing their chances the best right now. So this is the form team we're facing at Goodison Park. Their last season there, they always have a good atmosphere. Maybe a 12:30 kickoff helps us a little bit in that aspect. But yeah, this is a good Everton side, and we can focus on them a little bit more later on in the stream, if you like. Before that, like I said, this back three, what do we reckon? Because I don't think Maguire has had a great couple of weeks. I don't think he played particularly well. Apologies for the doggo in the background. There's this issue, particularly in possession, I find. I think a lot of people talk about off the ball, he's not quick, he's not agile, and things like that. I understand it. My bigger issue, though, is actually sometimes on the ball. Because he knows he's not quick, he sort of gives himself a head start. So let's say United are dominating possession. Let's just quickly move the players up here. We're dominating up here. What you want to see is the wide centre-back stepping forward and your middle centre-back, let's take Yoro out, getting involved with them as well. So that when you lose possession, you can suffocate the middle of the pitch, win the ball back. And I think ultimately that's how you sustain attacks. That's how you pin teams back and eventually wear them down. And I think that's what Amorim wants us to do. He wants us to be a possession side, a team that does it slowly and progress. To do that, you do need to sustain your attacks. You need to counter-press well. Maguire is struggling with that because what he does is he just gives himself sort of a few yards head start because he knows if we lose the ball, he hasn't got the pace to really recover for us. So he just gives himself that bit of room to hang a little bit deeper, protecting himself. But obviously that gives the opposition players more time in the middle of the pitch. So that is a slight concern I have at the moment. But realistically, this probably isn't the game to take him out because we know that Everton just always, I mean, historically, have always been a really good physical side, particularly under David Moyes. They're a strong team again. Beto, tall, strong striker. You've got Decore in midfield as well, big physical presence. But even at the back, Tarkowski and Branthwaite are both massive. Also, O'Brien at fullback. This guy is one of those fullback, but he's also kind of a centre-back as well. There's a lot of height in this team, so it's probably not the game where you take Maguire out, personally, for me. Let me know what you guys think. If that is the case, if we're keeping Maguire, who do you put round him? Now, where's Yoro gone? I've lost him. Yoro's in the conversation for me if he's fit. He's in the conversation. Do you go actually for a purely physical back three? Like this, 3 players that are genuinely centre-backs, tall, pretty decent in the air. You could go for that. Or do you need Mazraoui's ball progressing ability? Is it going to be that sort of game where we take control? I mean, Everton will often set up in a sort of sometimes 4-4-1-1, sometimes more of a 4-4-2, but they're going to be compact. They're going to be difficult to break down. Do you need that Mazraoui profile? What do we reckon? Amarim's press conference isn't until 1:30, but I'm sure we'll get an injury update. Yeah, that's why I used to stream a little bit later, so we would get the news during the stream. Obviously, we've changed it recently, so we don't get that luxury really anymore. Second half, we were good, just can't find our finish our chances. I agree, it's that final pass more than actually the shot for me. Everton gave Liverpool a hard time last time, and they have a winning streak, so we have to put out our best players. I completely agree, this needs to be strong. We can't start our youngsters this game. This game is too physical for us. Everton will bring a physical presence in this game, as I think we will get dominated in the midfield. This could be a perfect game for Casemiro, I believe you said. Possibly, he does bring that physicality. Does he bring the athleticism? I'm not sure so much. I feel Yoro still isn't at the physical level we need. First of all, good morning, mate. I was looking back the other day, Edwick, at streams and the history of streams, and I realised you were one of the people who were here, literally, from the very first stream, which is pretty cool. So, thank you as always. But yeah, I do agree. He's obviously more physical than Mazraoui, but as of yet, he's not a physically dominant centre-back. I think he gives us a bit more than Mazraoui does, purely, box defence, set pieces. Again, he is that little bit taller, he is better in the air, he is stronger. But you are right, he's not physically a dominant player. Certainly if you look at him compared to Maguire in the air, for example, there's a big difference. Something that I've seen pointed out, particularly on Twitter, by a guy called Callum. Make sure you check him out if you can find him. Yoro kind of has this thing where he's defending in the box, where he doesn't have a lot of physical contact with players. A really good way to defend in the middle here. Let's say the ball's out wide, and you're defending someone like Beto. A really good way of knowing where your striker is to literally grab him. Now, I'm not talking about grabbing him and dragging him down for a foul or something like that, but just keep nudging him, little contact, pushing the back here and there, just grab the shirt, shoulder to shoulder, just keeping physical contact with them. Then you always know where they are. It stops them from kind of slipping out of your line of sight and things. You know constantly where they are. If you watch some of the goals recently where Yoro's being labelled as kind of at fault at the back post, not dealing with it aerially, if you watch most of those clips, most of the time Yoro isn't getting physical enough. He doesn't actually touch the striker at all at any point in the move. So I actually think that might be something that he needs to do more of. I think that might almost improve his awareness. Just, first of all, it disrupts the striker a little bit more. Like I said, the dark arts are defending. Yeah, it disrupts the striker, it ruffles them up a little bit. But I actually think purely for Yoro, actually knowing where the player is. Because sometimes it feels like a player catches him on the blind side, comes in and wins the header, and Yoro doesn't really compete, he doesn't really jump. He needs to get that understanding. He needs to know where the player is a bit more. I do wonder if just grabbing onto someone a little bit more, that little bit of physical contact, might be a way for him to try and improve that. Is that sort of the conversation for today, we think? Yoro or Mazraoui in the back three? I assume most people would go for Maguire. Again, if we're talking about physicality, set pieces, things like that. If so, we'll do that poll. Right centre back. Yoro. Mazraoui. De Ligt can definitely play this system. The collective is the issue. Yeah, I think I've made my opinion on De Ligt fairly clear. I think he's obviously a very good centre-back. A centre-back who has never really been given the opportunity consistently under a manager. Isn't the stat that he's never played a full season under the same manager. So he struggled to reach his potential because of that. I think he's a very good, solid centre-back. He's good at a lot of side of the game. He doesn't stand out in one area enough for me. For me, he doesn't have a part of the game where he is elite, apart from perhaps in his personality, his mentality, and his leadership. So I do have that criticism of him. But I think he can play the system. I think he's useful in all three positions. Perhaps in the long term, he might be more of a squad player, we'll see. But I certainly think he can play the system. I think that's the bad thing about this new generation of defenders. Too much emphasis on building out from the back, and not enough on actually defending. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Hi AJ, I remember watching your earlier videos where you were in your bedroom wearing a hat. How times have changed. I know, right, man? Started at the bottom, now we're here. Look at us. Is it the same hat? It might even be the same hat. I don't actually know. Nah, it's probably might be the same hat. Speaking of hats, you guys want some, right? Was that a discussion last week that people want hats for sale with the AJ logo on? We might be able to do that. In the works. De Ligt can play central centre-back if he has to go into midfield and build up. So you said can't play. Yep. In that case, we should have a more ball-playing centre-back that's at least 6'2" in the middle. Either side, I'm fine with him. I think for me, the solution there is not to do this inverting thing with the middle centre-back. I've said it so many times. I just don't like it. I don't see a need for it. What most teams do when they play three centre-backs, what they do when they build from the back, is they'll shift across. So the two centre-backs will almost split into full-back positions. Granted, that's easier when you've got Lisandro Martinez, but they almost do that. That's a simpler way of doing it. They make a goalkeeper part of the back four, which, for a start, has given us an extra player as well, with Onana and his ball-playing ability, but also there's none of this centre-back in midfield nonsense. The other option, you don't have to use Onana if you don't want to be that expansive, is to move one of the centre-backs to full-back and drop your wing-back deeper. That's how most teams do it. Most teams that start with a back three on paper play from their goal kicks like this, and it's, like I said, it stops that Harry Maguire or De Ligt profile receiving in the middle of the pitch, kind of clogging the middle of the pitch. So for me, I would try and change it, to be honest. I'd try and change it. We need De Ligt on the right and Joro with Dorgu. Yeah, we'll come on to that Dorgu conversation in a minute. We'll come on to that. Unless we change the central centre-back going into the middle, because defensively De Ligt in the middle is my favourite. Yeah, I think he's good as a central defender. I said it again, it's that on-the-ball problem. Maybe this isn't the right video for this, but do you think we should sign a central defender more suited to how we want to play before other positions? Do you mean literally the central centre-back? If so, I'd probably avoid it for now, because I think we've got 3 or 4 players that want to play there. If you're talking about the wide centre-backs, I think we're going to need one. Can you ship to Japan? Honestly, for these hats, as a one-off to say thank you for 50k, I'll ship to anywhere. Who wasn't given an emoji? Who wasn't given an emoji? Steve, who needs an emoji, mate? We might need a candle one as well for therapy sessions. Mazraoui needs to play as a right wing-back and put Dalot on the bench. Put Yoro on at right centre-back. Yeah, that's definitely an option. But the poll at the moment, though, is going for Mazraoui as one of the centre-backs, which I do understand as well. I do understand. That wing-back conversation is going to be an interesting one this week. I prefer De Ligt as a wide centre-back because he can physically deal with wingers better than centre-forwards. Yeah, like I said, I think he's got this reputation of being this big, dominant defender who's really physical and good in the battles. But I think actually when you watch him, if you actually put him up against like a Beto or a Calvert-Lewin profile or a Haaland, just the biggest physical strikers in the league, I don't think De Ligt is actually particularly dominant, literally 1v1 with a big striker. So like you said, I do think at times it suits him perhaps a little bit wider in box defence situations, because rather than marking Beto, he's marking Harrison, which, you know, aerially he should be able to beat him. The only problem with him on the side is more in transitional moments. He's not a slow player, don't get me wrong, but he's not the most agile. He doesn't move his feet particularly quick at times. It's a tricky one. It's a really difficult balance to get. I think we find that as you go through the team, with almost every single position, the balance is tough. I mean, for a start, right, let's just do... let's take Yoro out. You guys have voted Mazraoui, so we'll put Mazraoui in the back three. If we just do this, I go on about this a lot, right? I always have done. Having left footers and right footers in the team. Look at that Manchester United squad. That's why recently I've always had this on screen. Højlund left foot, Dorgu left foot. The rest of them are all right-footed. They all naturally want to come down this way. They all want to move this side of the pitch, right? So I've got the ball here. De Ligt, I'd rather pass this way. Maguire, this way. Mazraoui, Bruno, Casemiro, Dalot, Xerxes, Garnacho. There's only Højlund and Dorgu who really want to go that way. Now, obviously, Garnacho is fairly two-footed with his dribbling, so he can go out wide as well. But you get the point that I'm making. The whole squad has been built for, I don't know how many years now, with just the most horrendous balance. It doesn't help, changing from manager to manager, idea to idea, system to system. It is all a bit of a jumbled up mess, right? Right. De Ligt just saying he hasn't had a stable manager or consistent support. Oh, and that's why he hasn't had an emoji. Yeah, true. Or I'm not helping because he hasn't had an emoji. I've got you. I tell you what, if we get some more members, he'll be the next emoji. I'd want Yoro in the left centre-back and Mazraoui right centre-back for the time being. David, in that situation, would you have Maguire as your central one? Or would you have De Ligt? Liverpool got PSG in the Champions League. Oh, what a game that'll be. I think Liverpool probably edged that just because of the extra experience they got in the squad and stuff. But that PSG team is fun. Really fun. Anyway, let's start the poll. Left centre-back. So what are the options? De Ligt or Yoro. Again, guys, to vote in the poll, it's really easy. It's just in the top of the chat. You just got to tap on it and it expands it, and then you just click on option. De Ligt, Yoro, left centre back. Bosh. There we go. Fun fact: De Ligt's had a different manager every season of his career. That's what I mean. Even this year, he's had two managers, and it's a bit of a joke, really. You're like, what are the chances? What are the chances of that happening? Hopefully, he's going to have at least 2 seasons of Ruben Amorim, right? Maybe. Although at this rate. For the Everton game, I'd want De Ligt to start, more aggressive than Maguire, so you'd put him in the middle. Yep, fair enough. Can we talk about the pace of Everton's attackers? Of course we can. Everton's attack is a little bit weaker than what it normally is. You've got Dwight McNeil out of the team, left-footed player, goes down the left, crosses a lot, good player. Feels like a proper Premier League player, And then you got Njai as well, who's played on the left-hand side a lot this season. And actually the first few games under Moyes was playing really well. This sort of player who's not your traditional winger in the sense of playing on the touchline, but was moving inside a lot. They've lost that now. Lindstrom and Harrison, not the same. They aren't the same threat, particularly in the case of Harrison. Obviously, he had some really good seasons for Leeds 4 or 5 years ago now, but he's not the best player you're ever going to see. He's not an amazing dribbler. He's not particularly quick or powerful. He's just a good, solid player. And Lindstrom is quite similar. Again, versatile. He can come inside. He can go outside. He's going to work hard. But he's not excellent anywhere, I wouldn't say. Beto, a striker I really like. Tall, strong, physical, holds the ball up well. And I would describe him, this is how I always refer to him, as a graveyard shift striker. And what I mean is, he's that perfect striker. When you're parking the bus, you get about 3% possession all game. And when you get it, you just need to get it up to your forward. You need him to protect the ball and scrap a centre-back or get into a channel. He done that really well the other week against Virgil van Dijk. But also in the game before that, he done it as well. And I can't remember who that was against. But physically, he's a really good player. Not the quickest in the world. But he likes to link the play, quite a good technical striker. I'm actually a big fan of Beto. He's one of my favourite strikers in the league. He's a good player. And then Decore sort of in this 10 position, back from suspension, he's going to give you drive. We know all about Decore. He's been in the league long enough. Physically an absolute weapon. He's going to pop up in the box for goals as well. Bit of a box crashing sort of role. But also at times he'll drop into midfield, make it a 3 in those areas. Yeah, I think the Everton attack has the ability to hurt you on their day. It almost looked like a group of attackers that it feels like they'll score against United, but no one else. It feels like that sort of bunch of attackers, rather than a front four that is going to rip a team to shreds, I wouldn't think. To be fair to David Moyes, he has transformed them, though. He's transformed the way that they play. You got Mikalenko at left back. Used to play really rigid back here. He's kind of given a license to go forward. And going back to the point I made about O'Brien earlier, used to play for Lyon, I believe, in France. He's really more of a centre-back than a right-back. But I've had Nathan Patterson out injured, so O'Brien came into the team. And because he is naturally that sort of player who's more centre-back, he sort of tucks in just like that. And that's the sort of shape you get from Everton. Now, how United combat that would be interesting, because we do tend to struggle with that rotation. Like a fullback coming forward. Is that going to really pin Dalot back quite early? I'm worried about that. I am worried about that. For me personally, I prefer us defensively when, as the ball comes across the pitch, We then use that wing back to be aggressive, and a wide centre back, rather than having to step into midfield all the time, actually comes more of a fullback. I just think we look better when we do that. There were spells of this against Spurs where it looked good, but again, it's still a bit easy just to pin us back into this shape. I mean, Everton aren't exactly a side that want to dominate the ball and knock it about. They're not going to play 35 passes to slice you open. They will be fairly direct. I think possession for that reason might be quite even, because we know that United are a little bit passive, so you can get the ball against us, but Everton aren't a side that want to dominate the ball. They want to play a bit quicker, which will give us some of the ball naturally. Bit of a weird one. O'Brien is a mad lad. He loves a yellow card. He's a proper 6'6" right back, isn't he? Like, if I said 6'6" right back, O'Brien is what you get. It really is. Idrissa Gueye is class. He's a good player. Really good player. Alcaraz will start ahead of Doucouré after his goal and assist versus Palace on his full debut. Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe Doucouré's been available for 20 games this season and he started 19 of them. So you would assume he comes straight back into the team. He started the match against Liverpool the other week where he picked up the red card. But Alcaraz did do well on his debut. I think Doucouré will come back in just for his experience in this sort of game. But not sure. I wish we had Ahmad to give nightmares to Tarkowski. Easy for me to say, and Branthwaite like last time. I mean, last time, right, we played Everton. We beat them 4-0. And honestly, it was one of the least convincing performances early on under Ruben Amorim. Realistically, Branthwaite made a couple of bad errors for goals. We just took our chances in that game. And I think that's what we're going to need this weekend again. In the big moments, please take your chances. Take your chances. Yoro is actually winning the poll at left centre-back, by the way. Have a feeling we'll win. Not sure why. Just got a gut feeling. Hopefully I'm right. I think in my head I've got a little 2-1, just scrappy, take a couple of chances, 2-1 win. That's what I've got in my mind. Is Ugarte and Collier still ill? I honestly don't know. Hopefully Amorim will give us some sort of update this afternoon, although he might keep his cards close to his chest and not tell us too much. I don't know. We don't have the player profiles because of the squad's fitness levels. It's sad. I mean, yeah, it is. It is. Bench Dallo if you want to win. We can only do that if we've got more options, right? If we don't have extra options on top of last week, we playing Lindelof wing back, difficult. It is difficult. Yoro is winning the poll at the moment, 55%. Using the swiping keyboard. Yeah, not Ugarte and Cooker, mate. Okay, Yoro has won that poll, which I wasn't expecting. I was not expecting that. Not this week. Not this week. Okay, so De Ligt comes out of the team. Yoro goes in. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, midfield 2. Where do we have options? I don't know. Last week it was Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, and basically we had nothing else unless we wanted to turn to the academy. We didn't seem to want to turn to the academy, so it was just these two. Do we have more options this week? Potentially. I get the feeling Eriksen probably won't be. Not from the start, plus physical game, you probably don't want to play him anyway. Ugarte and Collier, I'm sort of hoping they'll be back in contention. Was Ugarte ill, or did he have a knock? Collier was ill. Do we know if Ugarte was an illness or a knock? I can't actually remember. Yeah, Sekou Kone is the one maybe. I have seen a report that he's going to get a chance in the first team before the end of the season. But I don't think it'll be yet. Again, not away at Goodison. Hi AJ, sorry I'm a bit late. No worries at all, my man. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. How's life? How are you feeling about United? I want to be optimistic, but I'm feeling a 2-2. At least I'm thinking we can score twice. I said 3-1 last week. That went well. Branthwaite is trying to get some clips like Aiden Heaven. But Ugarte was a knock. Yeah. He might be a little bit. Not sure then about Ugarte. Bruno left, Casemiro right, but I do think Ugarte and Collier will be available. Ugarte and Collier knock, Eriksen ill. Oh, I thought Collier was illness. We need Ugarte or Collier, really. If we're talking about the Everton midfield, you've got a lovely balance of all three of them can win their battles. Well, Garner's not the biggest player in the world, and neither is Idrissa Gueye, but he's got the work rate, he's got the intensity, he kind of nips about the pitch a little bit. They cover the ground, they win their battles. Technically, they're all good enough on the ball to take a first touch, get the ball down, play a good pass. We spoke about the James Garner assist the other week, right? That beautiful through ball. We know what we're going to get from that Everton midfield. They are now, Garner maybe not quite so much, but they're getting to the point where they are a set of experienced Premier League midfielders. You know what you're going to get from them. United are more difficult to predict because we have no idea who's going to be playing. Like you said, realistically, we need one of Ugarte or Collier, because if not, we go in with a midfielder that can't move, which, I just feel like footballers that can move are usually quite good, and we lack that there. And then Bruno Fernandes, for me, still not a central midfielder, although I think there's some games he can do it. But more than anything, again, just pure physicality, we lack it. We really, really do. Can we not play Dallo and Bruno in midfield? That is the other option till the end of the season. Not specifically Dallo, but do we experiment a bit more? Can someone different play somewhere? Like I said, we saw Xerxes last week move to more of the right forward role. Could he go left forward? Possibly. Kobbie Mainoo, we've seen him play up front. We've seen him play left forward. You've got to remember, in the last, is it 14 days or last 13 days, we've only played one football match. So there has been a lot of training time. I said this the other week. With that extra training time, Amorim might discover something different about a player, which causes him to profile the player differently. Xerxes, we saw it last week. Could we see it from someone else? Maybe. Is the other option, I don't know, would he do it? Would he do it? Would Amorim switch the shape a little bit? Maybe just to the 5-3-2? Can we, let's say we've got Collier fit, for example. Could we go for, I don't know, something like that to try and match them in the middle of the park more? So to make up for Casemiro, you get two in there with him. And obviously Bruno can sort of rotate higher still, particularly if you put Xerxes that side. Could we do that? That'd be interesting, That'd be an interesting little team, because Xerxes could still do that sort of floating job. You push your wing backs high. Maybe. Or just use Sekou Kone there. I like Sekou Kone, but wasn't it reported that prior to moving to Manchester United, he hasn't had any physical training in terms of improving him athletically? I think there's been a lot of talks that physically he looks a little bit lacking in under-21 football even. Goodison Park's a tough place to go for your first game when physically, supposedly, you're lacking a little bit. It would be brave. 5-box-1. Yes, yeah, it does. It's almost, you could almost go like 5-diamond-1 with Xerxes playing that sort of role. That'd be an interesting little shape, Because, like I said, Xerxes could sort of float between, because you'd think Garner and Gay would be taken by Bruno and Collier. Could Xerxes sort of like float in that space in there? And again, we're labelling it a new shape, but it wouldn't have to be an entirely new shape, because on paper this lineup could come out and be the 3-4-3 still. But you just drop Bruno deeper in the possession phase, which we do sometimes anyway. We sometimes drop one of those forwards, push Xerxes a little bit higher. Maybe we could do that. And I certainly think defensively, if we went for that shape, I think Collier is a player that would be amazing at that role. That engine to just cover this ground constantly. Maybe there's something in that. What do you guys reckon? Hot take, Casemiro can do Hollywood passes better than Bruno. Yeah, Casemiro is a good passer. Casemiro is a good passer of the ball. He's just too audacious sometimes. There's moments where you just got to take an extra touch, slow it down, and not every pass has to be amazing. Slide it 3 yards to your right. That's what Casemiro struggles with a little bit. Temperament, I guess, on the ball. His actual passing range is really good. Really good. Do we have to play Casemiro? I don't know. I'm just discussing, say, if Ugarte isn't available. We're unsure on Collier as well. I'm just trying to think, really. Don't you think it's too passive? I don't think it has to be. This is a point that I keep making about the 3-4-3. I've seen a lot of people online saying that just by nature, the back three is a bad formation. It's passive, it's too deep, it's too defensive, it can't work at the top level. I've seen too much of that. I don't think it's true. What's more important than the shape is the behaviours within the shape. So the 5-3-2 could be incredibly passive, because you could drop your full or your wing backs right deep like this. You could drop your 3 in, make your 2 compact, and Everton are going to have the fullbacks open all day long that they can cycle the ball with and dominate the ball, of course. But also, this exact same formation could be used with really aggressive wingbacks that squeeze up here. Suddenly, the fullbacks have got no room, and actually, we've now got room to jump. You could go front 2 on 2 centre-backs. That sort of makes sense. You could match up in the middle, and actually now all of a sudden it's a man-to-man system. Now, I don't think we will go man-to-man because we don't tend to under Amorim, but I don't think it has to be a passive system. I think it can be, and I think we utilise it currently in a passive manner, but I don't think it has to be that. It's an active choice that I think we're making. Or perhaps not a choice, misunderstanding maybe. Maybe players aren't picking up the instructions. Bruno last week had that really weird role. Was he meant to be doing that, or was he confused? Don't know, it's really difficult to say. Could he play Dalot on the left and have him come into DM rather than go up the wing? That lets Garnacho go wide and Bruno to advance in possession. Oh, are we talking about rotations? Are we evolving? Well, if we do... Hang on, what do you say? Let Bruno advance in possession. Do something like this. So like you said, Dalot rotates in. I've not got Garnacho in at the moment. Let's take Casemiro out real quick. Let's go... So let's say on paper the team is that. On the ball, Dalot rotates in. Garnacho goes high and wide. Bruno gets into a left forward position where I love him. I quite like it. I mean... My concern always when you rotate too much is when you lose the ball. I had that concern under Ten Hag a lot. Players move a lot, you lose it, they're in unnatural positions. But to be fair, with this lot, I think it works. It would just be a question of, say if you lose the ball here, is Dalot then meant to lock in the middle or is he meant to lock wide? Obviously not something really for us to discuss. That would be more of a managerial and the coaches. That's quite a nice rotation though. I do quite like that because also you can have it so Garnacho comes inside, Dalot goes wide, Bruno goes deeper. We also know that Bruno's happy to pop wide in moments. It could give us some quite nice rotations, which we haven't really seen down the left since Ten Hag's first season with Rashford, Shaw and Eriksen. Maybe. This Everton team bullied the best team in Europe in Liverpool. If we don't have players back, it will not be easy to watch us defend for the whole game. I think it'll be a tough game regardless. I don't think Everton will blow us away because... Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think they're going to be a team that absolutely steamroll us, blow us off the park and we get thumped. I don't think that will happen. I think it will be a tight game because, unfortunately, from an Everton perspective, they just don't have the best players in the world, right? They don't have quite as much individual quality as what United do. So I think it'll be tight. I think it will be compact. Like I said, I think both teams will have fairly even possession because I'm not sure that either team will keep it that well. It might become more physical where Everton are stronger, but I think in the attacking areas, in moments, you would suggest United have got more quality. So not an easy game by any means, but for me, I think it's one where United nick a win. Just nick it. Win by 1 goal from a set piece or a counter-attack or an error or good goal. I don't know. I'm actually tempted to try Garnacho right wing back. Gives us a bit of pace and ball carrying ability through both flanks with Dorgu on the left. My only concern I think Garnacho right wing back, it works. Even left wing back, it works when we're in the other team's half. I have no doubts about it there. I think he can be really good out wide. I prefer him out wide rather than in the middle. So I like it in that regard. My concern is more playing out from the back. You know, when he receives it in here and he's got his back to goal, Mikalenko coming towards him. Can he hold it there? I'm not saying he can't. This isn't a rhetorical question. It's almost actually, guys, please help me. Can he do it there? I don't know. Sometimes he looks quite good there. He takes a safe touch. He just plays it backwards. But we've also seen some really loose moments in his career so far as well. It's a tough one, but I do completely get the idea of trying to get that more direct attacking player, particularly if we are thinking of experimenting with the extra man in midfield. I get the want for wanting that more direct profile, 100%. Chad, good morning to you, my friend. Private investigator? You know it, mate. You know it. We're trying to investigate this lovely football club. Good to see you, though, my friend. Hope you're well. Dalot is a nightmare in track and back. Dalot's just a nightmare, full stop. You know, recently I've been saying it's trendy to hate on him. He makes it tough to defend him. I keep trying because I think he's a good footballer still. But he does make it difficult sometimes. Gonna take a lot more than a private investigator to figure out what's wrong with United. Yeah. If Amarim does that, I believe Dalot can be good for us. He was at his best when he was playing in an inverted fullback role. I think that's what suits him best. Dalot is a fullback, not a wingback. That's the problem. That sort of role that who was it? Was it Steve that said it? Yeah, that Steve said about that sort of role is more fullback-esque, and I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. He said Dalot rotates in, Bruno goes high, Garnacho spins wide. I think Garnacho against O'Brien's a really interesting one. When if Garnacho lets O'Brien close enough for physical contact, it becomes tough for him. O'Brien is massive, and I feel like he just eases him off it. But if he can kind of get him on the back foot, backing away when you're a little bit scared, right? The dribbler's coming at you and you don't really know where to go. Garnacho should have an edge there, particularly if he is playing as one of the forwards, and let's say Dalot's there or Dorgu's there as well. Is then going on the overlap, which sort of takes the eye of the defender. I think United might be able to target that a little bit. Now, there's a chance Lindstrom comes a little bit deeper into the back five. We do see him do that sometimes. David Moyes is pragmatic at times in the way that he plays football, so he might ask the winger to tuck a little bit deeper. But perhaps if they do that, that might give us then more control deeper. So it might make us less of an attacking threat, but it might give us more control, which would be good. For me, that's something I would be trying to do in this game. Take control as much as possible. People will call it slow, boring, dull, whatever. I understand. Stodgy, stale, the U round the back, the horseshoe. I get it. I like the idea of just trying to take the sting out of the game, take the sting out of the crowd. I think the crowd is really going to be up for this. I would be trying to remove that early on. Try and get a foot on the ball, keep it, knock it about a little bit. Do we have the players to do that? I'm not sure. A Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes midfield would probably suggest not, but I don't know. We just need to go to yellow card out of O'Brien, and then Garnacho can rinse him. I do think we can get at him there. I think Mikalenko is a bit of a tougher test down the left-hand side. Not the best defender in the world, but I think he's a solid left-back. He's not easy to beat, not easy to go past. Dorgu, I think Dorgu I would go on the left just for the sake of some attempt at balance, some attempt of on the outside. AJ, are you going to see the Europa League draw? Not during the stream. When is it? Is it after the stream? Or is it soon? But I won't be streaming it, but I will keep an eye on it, of course. Is Collier fit for the match? I don't know, mate. No idea. Each tweak can have negative consequences elsewhere? Absolutely. Now, that's the case in every football team everywhere in the world. But other teams have more of a luxury because they can mask it a bit more. Because what most teams have is a really good physical base and a really good technical base. You know, the Manchester City squad, they're struggling. Okay, bad example, because physically they're bad. Let's go Liverpool, right? Physically, they're all pretty good. Technically, they're all pretty good, which means you can tweak and move players about, move the system, and you still trust your players in their positions. You trust that they could go and play most roles, most shapes, most systems, and be all right, and sort of mask their weaknesses between them. At United, we don't have that luxury. It seems like we make kind of one small tweak, and it just collapses. So, you know, we've had that problem on these streams for a good 18 months now, particularly last season, where we were really desperate at one point. You're trying different ideas, but it's like, if we move this player here, we're just going to open up such a space here, and we don't have this centre-back to deal with it. That's why we need to build the level of the squad. Spoken about it a lot. It's why I put an emphasis on physical players. I'm not looking for the world beaters, the best player in every position. I don't think we can attract that anymore. Just punched the mic. I'm looking for players that physically raise the floor, technically raise the floor, to make us just be able to have that base level, really. Just a good, solid squad. I think from within that solid squad, you can then have more flexibility, more versatility. People are talking a lot about the formation right now, but we saw Ten Hag's 4-3-3 turned to 4-2-3-1. Didn't work. Now the 3-4-3 doesn't work. There's two very different systems. The fact that neither of them work would suggest there's more of a player issue here, more than anything else. It's why we need to try and build it. Can we do it this summer? Do we trust the people in place to do it? That's an interesting question. I don't know. We have players like Casemiro who physically and technically are shite. Exactly right. Other teams don't have that. They don't have that problem. Or if they do, if they've got one of those, they certainly don't have 3 or 4 of them. And we've got so many, and it is a problem. It's why we need to really grow in the summer. We need to recruit well. Like I said, do we Do we trust them? Do we trust Ineos and the scouts, but also the head of recruitment? Do we trust them to make the right decisions this summer? I'm not too sure. Not too sure. Anyway, what are we settling on in this position? Because we never actually really got down to it. Is it basically, if Collier and Ugarte are fit, let's try and get both of them in the team. If one of them are fit, get him in the team. If neither of them are fit, oh God, let's go Casemiro and Bruno. Is that sort of the idea? Is that sort of the idea we got here? So what we're going to do, we're going to put those two in there, but we'll put Collier and Ugarte sort of hovering over them as a like a, well, please be available. Please be available so we can use you. Anyway, front three time. Now we've got some options here. The options I believe are Rasmus Højlund. Nice. Joshua Zirkzee. Nice. Garnacho. Nice. And that's it. So I think that's probably the front three. Unless Bruno can go play there. Or one of the academy players. But like I said, I just don't see it happening after last weekend. I don't think the youth players will play. Chidowobi maybe. But he won't start though. I wouldn't have thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. But is that the team basically? Is that the idea? Do we have a choice? To be honest, no, we don't. We don't have a choice. This is the team. I did see an interesting comment the other day about the idea of swapping Zirkzee and Garnacho. Now, it would seem a little bit odd to do because obviously Zirkzee played well last week. But I do see the thinking behind it. I've spoken quite regularly about how I think the right side simplifies Garnacho's game a little bit, which helps him. We could do with that. We need to help this guy because he's so good in moments and then so daft in other moments. But I think the point more was that without Ahmad, if we put Garnacho on the left, realistically our sort of ball carrying threat, dribbling threat is there. I think the idea was to try and split them up to get Garnacho over here. That could once again allow Dalot to invert. Maybe Bruno goes higher or Dalot goes into that space himself. I don't mind the idea of it. Because if we now look at it like that, something about it balance-wise, I feel like Garnacho and Dorgu crossing from both sides might be useful for us. With the two big lads in the middle, could Bruno go high? Possibly. Alright guys, I've just seen in the chat from my dear friends David and Chad, we're on 40 likes. Seemed a little bit harsh. 40 likes. I don't mean to be ungrateful. Thank you very much to the 40 that have liked the stream. But this is meant to be a community therapy session to try and get through this hard time at Manchester United. I think the least you can do is just leave a like to say, AJ, we're in this together, my friend. So if you could please leave a like, that'd be amazing. Subscribe as well. Notifications on. Join Discord. Anything else to plug? Follow me on Twitter. Never active there, but why not? OnlyFans ain't out yet. I don't know what else there is to plug really, but that's about it. Zirkzee tracking back and Casemiro's mobility on one side is horror. Yeah, it's a fair point. I do think Casemiro's, or not Casemiro's, the availability of these two does dictate it a little bit as well. Right? Yeah, because that is a good point. That is a good point. You could swap it though. You could do something like that. Let's take Collier and Ugarte out for a second. Could you do this? So you go like a 3-4-3 on paper, like this, and then when you attack, Dorgu is your width down the left. Obviously, you wouldn't get as many rotations from Zirkzee, you just wouldn't. Can you push Casemiro into that flat roll? Bruno here? Could Dalot come in here and then Garnacho goes? And you almost end up with that sort of diamond shape, particularly if Everton are in the 4-4-2. The holes in the 4-4-2 are behind the midfield, there, and depending on how compact they are, in front of the midfield there. Maybe there's something in that, you know. Maybe there's something in that. What do you reckon? I think the recruitment has improved from the old guard, but nothing is going to matter if we can't score goals. Yeah, and ultimately, right, it's going to take up with... What did I just say? That's not what I was trying to say. Ultimately, it's going to take several windows to fix it. Everton are going to give us a game if we don't turn up for real. 100%. This will be tough. This will be tough no matter what. Even if we turn up at our best, it's going to be tough. Leave a like for AJ's mental health. Exactly. I need it. I need it. Doesn't matter where you put Bruno on paper. He's going to play every position during the game. That's a fair point. That's a very fair point. MRA11 in the chat with a super chat. Thank you very much, my friend, saying we are in this together, mate. That's the energy I need from you guys. You don't have to donate, of course. Thank you very much for the donation. But that's the energy we need. We are in this together. Thank you very much, mate. Guys, you know what to do. Get those love hearts in the chat to say thank you to MRA11. But also... Wait, is it MRA11 or is it Mr. A11? Damn. But also David as well in the chat. We have the gifted membership. Once again, David, thank you very much. You're an absolute legend, mate. Absolute legend. Thank you, as always, for the gifted membership. Guys, that chat should be green. I mean, it's pretty green, to be fair. I can't really complain. A few more love hearts, though, would be lovely. This season is totally off. We should focus on the next one. Not great, is it? 29 points. 28 goals. Let's just say that again. 28 goals in 25 football matches. Am I reading that right? 28 goals in 25 football matches. Aye, aye, aye. Wow. Just a bit of positivity to end with here. Wow. 28 goals. The Premier League season is over. We're just competing for that extra couple £1,000,000 you get for each position you finish up the league. I don't think the season is over, though, because we've got the Europa League, we've got the FA Cup. Might give us a route into Europe next season, which financially we need, also in terms of attracting players as well. Although, Champions League football, maybe we should avoid that because we're not ready for it. I don't know what I was going to say. But I think tactically the season's not over. Particularly if we can get, Cobby back in 6 weeks' time, hopefully. I think we can still learn a lot about this team. So, in terms of achievement in the league, it's over. But I do think we can use the league still to learn about the players, who is right for this system, who just isn't, who needs to go, who's going to be a good squad player, all of that stuff. We finished 17th but win the Europa League, let's go. Stranger things have happened, right? It could happen. I think we kind of suck. That's a pretty good breakdown, to be fair. Number 1 for XG underperformance in the league. Yeah, it's nice to be top of something. Nice to be top. Did you see that chart I put in the video? When was it? Is it yesterday or the day before? It hurts. It hurts. Anyway, something else you would have seen yesterday is... Let's put this bloke on stream just because he's beautiful. Look at him. What was I going to say? What did we do yesterday? Transfer targets. I listed 15 players. Now, I need to make something clear on that video. I wasn't saying go sign those 15 players because I'm aware we can't afford that. I'm also not saying they're necessarily the top targets for those positions. These are just the players that I know a lot about, players that I've been watching recently. The idea was to point out the fact that there are premium options for some positions. Some areas we're going to have to cheap out a little bit. I do want to focus more on transfers though. Like I said right at the start of the stream, I want to stream more moving forward. So if you guys have ideas for streams, let me know. Again, you can join the Discord server, linked in the chat, or you can just put it in the chat or on comment sections of different videos. But also, let me know some players that you want me to look at with the idea of signing them for United, potentially in the summer. Let me know some players you've got your eyes on, players that we need to take a look at and break them down. I also want to do a transfer stream at some point. I just don't know how to format it right now. I don't know how to format it. Do I just give you guys 10 players in a stream and we spend 5 minutes talking about each one? I don't quite know how we structure it. Do we focus on centre-backs in one stream, wingers in another, inside foot, whatever? I don't know. I don't know how to format it. I want to come up with an idea. I'm probably going to talk to some of you guys in the Discord, which again, join the Discord. It's linked in the chat. Completely free to join. Loads of football chat. Especially this week. Did you notice that? Football chat. Yeah, give me some ideas. Give me some ideas, because I would like a bit of help on this, because, again, fan base is a little bit flat at the moment. I want this community, the AJ Analysis community, to be a place where we're actually still talking really about the football side of things, the tactical side of things, player development, things like that. I want to focus on that as much as possible. I can't believe AJ thinks we can buy 15 players in one window. I mean, if they're all like £2,000,000, then we could. We may just not improve the squad that much. Although, probably still a little bit, to be fair. Bastoni is unrealistic. Yeah, that's why I also want to put a couple in there that were premium options to be like, oh my god, I wish we could get this guy in a dream world. But then acknowledging the fact that realistically, there's certain ones that we probably can't get. So that was kind of the objective of that video. I think we achieved that. Hopefully there were some shouts in there that you guys haven't seen everywhere. Like I said, Jenska Justi at Ipswich, on loan from Napoli. I think he's an interesting one. I think he's one to keep an eye on. Would he cost a lot of money? I wouldn't have thought so, considering they loaned him out this season. Premier League proven. Physically really good, technically really good. I hope players like that were a little bit different for you. And Mecha at Dortmund as well. Slightly different players to what everyone might suggest traditionally. Divide transfers by defence, midfield, attack, and mention academy options. Happy to do that. We're going to have a team of players between 18 and 22. Yeah, I don't want to end up with a squad that is just like that. For me, we really need a balance of senior players as well. Not sure if it's just his highlights are impressive, but Hugo Ekitike is a realistic target. Good player. Good player. I scouted him 3 years ago before he had this move. And before he went to PSG, that's when I was looking at him. Really good player. We should sign Mo Salah. Chad, that's ball knowledge, mate. I think Ipswich will be raided this summer. Yeah, Bournemouth. They might be another one to get raided. You could do in a Discord or in a community post what players people want to talk about for each position. Maybe have a quota for each position. And then we can talk about them. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Career mode stuff. Exactly. Some of you guys who were here last season will also remember we done those streams where we might have done it in the summer as well, actually, where we went through the United squad position by position. So we would go centre-backs and rate them on the different traits on a scale of different attributes, 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, I can't remember. Might do that again, just to sort of reassess where the current squad is, to really figure out what we need. You know, last season we kept coming to the conclusion that... I'm going to sneeze. It's coming. Where's the sneeze? My eyes are watering. 1 second, guys. Slight technical difficulty. I'm malfunctioning. Am I going to sneeze or not? Okay, we're not sneezing. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, last season we broke down the players by these attributes, and we looked at like the midfield, for example, and saw none of them can move. Or, you know, this year you'd probably look at it and see that we've got a real lack of players that are 1v1. We did it a couple of times. I think we've done it for pretty much every position last year, right? We done strikers. It was wingers then, midfielders, fullbacks. I think we covered every position. Maybe we didn't talk about fullbacks, but I think we could do that again with the squad, because the squad is obviously different to what it was at this time last year, and also players have changed. So certain players have maybe regressed in different areas, but also Ahmad, for example, is someone that we view much higher now. So I think that's interesting to do, and I think it highlights really what the squad needs. Yeah, we didn't cover the goalkeeper. Yeah, true. So I think it's a good way of highlighting what we need. So we will probably do that. Maybe next week. We might start it next week. Do 1 a week. Thank you for all the bless yous, by the way, guys. Unfortunately, I didn't sneeze, though. That feeling when the sneeze don't come, nothing but pain. Anyway, the last thing we need to quickly do before we leave is predict the scoreline. Predict the scoreline for this one. Man United versus Everton. Goodison Park. Our last ever game at Goodison Park. Quite sad, right? Good stadium, historic stadium, traditional Premier League stadium. Love it. But we're going to ruin the party by winning, in my opinion. 2-1. Do I actually believe that, or am I just being delusional? The latter. No, I actually think we might win this. I say it every week. I'm going to continue saying it every week. Chad with a 6-1 loss. Okay, is that where we're at? I'm going 2-1 United win. The goals come from... The goals come from... Is it Hoyland time? We rarely draw. Don't remember the last draw we had. What was the last draw? Did we draw with Liverpool or did we lose to them? Steve, who's getting sent off, mate? Is that an Onana red card? Honestly, I could see it. Never going for 2-1 United. Goals from Hoyland and Maguire. Those two emojis look very different to each other, don't they? They're not exactly the same style. I might need to sort that. Callum going 3-1 United. The brace from Xerxes and the goal from Euro. 2-1 loss I'm seeing. 1-0 loss, 1-0 to us. By the way, guys, if you're a member, open up your emojis. You're going to have several of our players. Pretty cool. Not all of them. I need to update it. And we need more, which we'll have if we have more members. But yeah, you can use that to predict some of the goal scorers. Steve going 1-0 with Bruno and Onana and a red card. Is that Onana saving a penalty? Is that Onana scoring? Who's getting sent off? No idea, Steve, mate, but I love it as long as we win. Wait, was that a win to us? 1-0? Yeah, that was the away team. David goes 3-1 United. Ryan goes 2-1. 4-2 United win. 2-0 for me. Bruno Fernandes on the left wing. Sure, why not? Surely at some point Højlund scores. That's my logic. Højlund goal and... You know what, I'm going to do the unspeakable. Yeah, it was a Liverpool game. I'm going to do the unspeakable. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Manchester United this weekend. Going to score 2 goals. And they're both coming from strikers. Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee. Goal each. Bosh. We scored 2. Who's scoring for Everton? Decore, I reckon. I reckon Decore scores 2-1 Manchester United. Honestly, I will take it. I will take it. Just an ounce of positivity. Maybe have some fun along the way. Maybe actually create some chances. Score a couple of goals. Look compact. Control the ball in certain parts of the game. Maybe attack quickly at times as well. That would be nice. We can dream, right? We can dream. Steve predicting the brace from Cantona. Respect that. Maguire with 5. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Where's the Mason Mount emoji? Chad, it's gone, mate. Because he never plays. So I replaced him with someone who actually plays. I can't think who I replaced him with. It was quite a sad moment. I've lost my head? Maybe. Guys, he's in that. Steve will gift a sub if they both score. You heard it here. That our strikers are scoring. AJ, could you do a video on why Højlund has seemingly regressed as a player? I've been tempted to do it since pretty much the start of the season. I just don't know when to do it. I don't know when is it right, because do you guys want that video after a terrible game? You know, let's say we just played terribly and it's sad and everyone's really depressed. Do you then want that video looking at everything that's wrong, or do you want the spin? Do you want the positivity where we can find it, or we should do this to improve, or do you want that this is going wrong? About Mount, where is he? No idea. No idea at all. We done a keep or sell in January, and my view was you keep him, reassess in the summer. If he's an option for a second half of the season and he plays well, lovely. If he doesn't, you get him gone. Right now, it's looking like he doesn't, so you get him gone. Unless something changes very quickly. You know, he needs to get himself fit in the next 4 weeks, get himself in the team, keep himself in the team. This is his opportunity to get fit and be a player for United. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'd rather have that type of video in a middle spot, not after winning or losing the game. So just kind of like when we're drifting a little bit. If Højlund hits 20 games without a goal, I like it. I like it. How many is he on, do we know? Do one today and Højlund can score a hat-trick tomorrow. The good old AJ jinx. That's what I do, mate. That's what I do. Yeah, Højlund going 20 without would be a good point to do it. Also, the Mason Mount emoji is injured. He's killing me. That's such a great way of putting it. I also saw, and I'm going to write this idea down because I think it's too late to do it this season because of how far into the season we are. But I saw... Where's the comment gone? You should do predictions, AJ versus chat. Next season, we absolutely have to do that. So each week, I predict the scoreline and the goal scorers. Maybe there's a bonus point system. Collectively, as a chat, you come up with an agreed score prediction. We'll do a poll or something, and we'll track it for the season. And it's me against you lot. I really like the idea of that. I like the idea of that. Why has no one else thought of that? The rest of you should be ashamed of yourselves. What do I hire you for? Jokes, you ain't getting paid. I like the idea of that. Let me quickly write that down. Bosh. Man said gold drought anniversary video. Be beautiful. AJ versus Chad? No, chat, mate. It's not all about you, Chad, alright? It's not all about you. Mount is on a work from home contract. You guys are being harsh, man. Højlund lacks quality. He's the only striker in the Prem that his heat map suggests that he is never in the box. He should focus on scoring and not fighting defenders. Sometimes it's fun to fight a defender, don't right? Chad, you're not the main character. Exactly, although he kind of is as well. Winner gets a kiss. From who is the question? Amaro? Do you reckon we could make that happen? A little collab with United? Maybe. Anyway, I think we lost our minds. I think we have successfully lost our minds. Has that been a therapy session, or have we made it 10 times worse? I don't know, but either way, I think we are finished there. Yes, not AJ versus Chad. AJ versus the chat. The chat. You guys. All of you. All of you. Not AJ versus Chad. AJ versus Chad is more likely to be like a boxing thing, I'd imagine. You know, 4'8" versus 4'9", just going at it. Maybe someday. But yes, I like the idea of AJ versus the chat. Score predictions next season. I like the idea of that. Yeah, apart from that, we are finished for today because I need to quickly nip off and go do something. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the stream. Hopefully, I think we've succeeded in being a calm, relaxed place to talk about football. We've spoken about kissing each other for some reason. Don't know why that's happened. I think we've had a pretty good stream there. So thank you guys very much for being involved. And honestly, sticking with us during what is a tough time for Manchester United fans. I really do appreciate you guys that keep coming back despite the constant misery. So shout out you guys. Thank you to everyone who has left a like on the stream. Anyone who has subscribed is what I was trying to say. Thank you very much. If you've joined the Discord, you're kind of a legend. If you've left a super chat, you've gifted a membership, you've renewed your membership, you've become a member, any of that, legendary. All of you really, legends. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the stream. Steve, you good then, mate? And started off depressed, ended wanting a kiss from Amarim. Seems like an improvement. That seems like a good way to end the stream. That's a final, nice little caption. Discord link not working? Huh. DM me on Discord and I'll get you a link sorted. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, the stream's going to stop randomly. I will see you guys in the next one.